Why would you work linearly and all calculated when you can just make noise, throw things at the wall, see what sticks, and have fun with it? I don't want to burn out, so I have to have fun with what I'm doing.
1 second, are you doing it for money?
What is going on with this boys club Hatala? Who do they think they are?
And do you think everything is equal rights? Were you there to make the scandal, or were you there to really help?
I was really there for both. I was
So
there
you
to
like the scandal situation?
Yeah, of course. I'm trying to get visibility on the things I care about.
By the way, you got some extra dildos because I know women that can use it. Ladies and gentlemen, so today we have Flatbush girl for the first time. Some people think like that, some people think like that, but we're going to try to uncensor her and to get to understand who she is. So, how are you? How's it going?
Better than ever. Everything's amazing.
There's a lot of things that, people know about you and people don't know about you. So I want you first to say and talk, who are you, Flatbush girl? What is Flatbush girl?
So Flatbush girl is not really a real person. Flatbush girl is the manifestation of all of Orthodox Jewish women's unsatiated needs and desires to be equal members of our community. So it is sort of it's a cry, it's a battle cry, and it's every little girl's cry when she feels unequal to her brothers, when she sees her mother not being equal to her father. And it's my job to remind people that there are people in the shadows crying over these injustices.
So your whole journey about being a public figure generally and fighting certain fights for people, how did it all start?
My whole life, I always felt that there was a great inconsistency around the Shabbos table. I felt like my mother just had the whole home being run so incredibly smoothly. She was bringing in great money, and she was just such an empowered, intelligent woman. She was the first person in her family going to get an education, and she grew up in Borough Park. Her brothers were Satmar,
Hasidish?
Yeah, Hasidish.
Okay. You speak Yiddish?
I don't speak Yiddish. I teached in Yiddish for 10 years when I went to Beis Yaakov Academy. We did all of Chumash and Navi in Yiddish, but when you don't use it conversationally, it doesn't really stick. And I love Yiddish. I think Yiddish is the most beautiful language in the whole wide world.
That's the reason why you said you came over here, because I speak Yiddish.
I did. It was literally, I have a bias. I really love Hasidim, and people say all the time, people sexualize Hasidim, they fetishize Hasidim because they're such a unique group. And I think it's true. I think all Jews look at Hasidim as an incredible clan that we all have so much respect for. So yeah, the fact that you have Hasidic roots to me is really what, made me feel like I wanted to be here. I get asked to go on podcasts all the time, and just the synergy doesn't really feel right, but
so I'm glad that you came. So how did it start? Yeah. Talk to me.
So no, I just felt like I was in a home and seeing other families where there was the father was the one making kiddush and making Havdalah and getting a kibbud and shul, and he's the one who's getting to do kriyas Hashem for the baby, but the women are doing most of the work. I don't understand why
it's different work.
No, it's not different work. The way we've been trained until recently did we start saying no more of this. We're not going to just be barefoot in the kitchen. I
didn't say kitchen. I want to understand. Do you think everything is equal rights?
Yeah, I do.
So when it comes to schlepping garbage bags or whatever heavy stuff, you think that's fair that the woman should schlep it just like the guy?
No, but you have discrepancies in Milos.
So first of all, it's not the same. 1 second. Let's first get on the same page. We can't compare women to men.
When it comes to rights, yes, there is.
So you're talking about rights, but not generally put in the same. A girl, whatever a guy does, a girl can.
I'm not talking about gender roles necessarily. I think I'm just talking about in the community, the sense that there's this mechitza. I know for you guys, you don't really feel what it's like, but for someone like me who feels like a natural leader, to be in a space where anytime I'm public or smiley or being loud, it's considered not sneas. It's considered it's all about attention. The shul in Borough Park that I used to daven in as a little girl, was right next to Freund's on 15th Avenue. And it was this tiny little shul. It was called Marmarash, and I was davening in a tiny little attic. We couldn't even hear or see anything around the bima or anything around the Sefer Torah. It's very isolating for us.
Right, but
we're spectators in our own Yiddishkeit.
Right, but I don't think that's a fight. I think maybe we need to make bigger Vabe shields. I mean, this is not something you fight it about.
Yeah, no, I did, because it's all a symptom of the same exact problem.
So this is how it started off, feeling.
Yeah, I felt it in my kishkas. I felt right away that there was an inequality between my grandmother and my grandfather, my mother and my father, in the way that they were practicing their Yiddishkeit, because the way it was actively practiced in the home, the women were doing much more. So it didn't make sense to me.
I disagree on doing much more. I think they did different things.
No, I think that's sugarcoating the fact that women really carry a lot of the load of Yiddishkeit. You know, Nashim Bansa Besa.
I know what it means.
In a lot of ways, women really hold the Yiddishkeit in the foundation of a home. And I think that's something we all really agree to in the way that our family dynamics are in from Orthodoxy. So, you know, to say, look at what's going on in the Kollel world. Why are women juggling bringing in the parnasa, running the home with the kids, doing homework, making schedules for supper, and the guys are learning? Like, that's very beautiful, but think about the division of workload. It's actually inferior. It's not fair. It's not equal.
Let's go back. You weren't the famous Flatbush girl that people know, and you felt that I want to go out there and start fighting and start, you know, I want to show what I am about. When was the first time you did it?
Nachi, I love that question. Thank you so much. You're prompting me into really the initial seeds of my advocacy, which is a viral hashtag that was retweeted by even Mayim Bialik. She's the star of Blossom, and it resulted in tons of coverage in the Daily News, in the New York Times.
Was it on Instagram?
It started off on Instagram, where I developed the hashtag From Women Have Faces. And the importance of this hashtag is to combat and whistleblow on the fact that From publications have decided that women's neck up faces are erva. They invented this. This is a new mishigas. There's no makar that women's panim are erva. We don't walk around with veils. The only time we're wearing a veil is the dektich under the chuppah, because we believe in the helikite of the Shechina. It's not because we say that the face is not tznius.
Right.
So where did this come from that you open up Ami, Mishpacha, Hamodia, and now disgustingly recently, Flatbush Jewish Journal? Shame on the editor over there, how he allows that. And it's a sexualism.
What did he do?
That he allows that the policy of the Flatbush Jewish Journal is that they erase women's faces. The only women's faces they show are either dead women or bubbies over the age of 90. What are you and little girls under the age of 6. So what are you saying? What are you signaling? You're signaling that women over the age of 6 and under the age of 80 are arousing your Shmira Seinayim. What, excuse me?
But let's
so
go
you're
back
erasing me because you can't keep it in your pants?
We're going to get on this topic in a second, but we have to go back where we asked. I asked you about the first time.
Need to move something anywhere? That is Shimon's Express. We're your global logistics partner, specializing in seamless shipments from Israel to New York. And from there, we connect you to the UK, Mexico, and beyond. Plus, if you're in the tri-state area, rely on us for fast, reliable local deliveries. Need secure private warehousing? We've got you covered.
Shimon's Express, connecting you globally, delivering locally.
Contact us today at 718-221-2121.
City Council member Chaim Deitch approached me. He was the head of Shomrim, and he is a well-known Askin.
Right.
He's had some downfalls in the public space. Which
very nice guy, actually.
He's very nice. He's done a tremendous amount for Klal Yisrael. I happen to think that he is a piece of work in many other ways, but whatever. Everyone has their, their things. And he was running for city council. He was running for re-election, and his office reached out to me, and they said, "We want to present you with a citation award. We want to make a big present to you as an overture for all your actions in the community, helping women, empowering women, and we want to meet up with you."
1 second. You had already followers at that point? You were low?
I had some followers. I was
You always had?
I had it was like 14,000 followers.
Okay, normal.
Nothing major,
Right.
I was posting like silly things.
But I guess they saw your potential
posting
maybe of
funny
becoming
videos.
okay.
I wasn't really in the advocacy space. Yes, the initial birthing of what Flatbush Girl is about women's equality, but the initial videos I made were more like, reeling people in, getting people interested, and then, sort of just then talking about tachlis. So we met up. We had this incredible event where we were covering up graffiti with a bunch of Hatala members and Shomrim members, and it was a big photo op. and they dressed me up as one of them. I was like the only girl in the picture. I was like in the center, and everyone was around me. It was
The Flatbush showroom jacket?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the Flatbush showroom jackets. And I thought it was such a great photo, and he was using it to promote himself. So what did I do? I called the Flatbush Jewish Journal. I submitted the photo, and I sent in a payment of $550. I said I want a full page ad thanking Chaim Deitch for everything he's ever done for the community. And this is the photo I want, and I want you to write like the Flatbush girl community thanks Chaim Deitch, yada yada.
So that's the first time you're using Flatbush Girl?
No, it wasn't the first time I was using Flat. It was the first time I was like trying to see what would happen if the concept of Flatbush Girl was in a publication.
What was your goal?
There was no goal. There's
no goal, no business, no nothing.
No, it's just playing around.
Okay.
And they wrote back, they rejected the ad. They said, in order for this to be published, you need to change the word Flatbush Girl to Flatbush Boy, because girl is too not sneeze.
Ah, okay.
And also your face, you have to blur it out.
Oh, they started with the wrong person, I think.
This From Women Have Faces was not a thing yet. And
Okay.
it's a huge, hashtag. There's actually been books written about From Women Have Faces as a social commentary, and, women who write dissertations for their PhDs and whatever, different anthropology things. They have actually written about this event in the cultural landscape of Jewish orthodoxy. And and I wrote back to them. I said, okay, I called their bluff, which is, by the way, my number one tip when you're working to get a get. Call every bluff. That's the way you get a get. And
What do you mean?
I'll get to that in a minute. So what did I do? I changed it to Flatbush Boy, and I covered my face with a laughing emoji. And they took it. And
they actually posted like that?
And they printed it like that.
That's funny.
And
Okay.
they printed it like that. And that's when it birthed the battle cry of the hypocrisy. So I'm good enough to come to for your photo op to help you run for re-election.
They gave it out?
Yeah, they published
And then you went to fight
And
against?
then I went, yeah, exactly. I always do that.
You're terrible. So you're cute now, smiling now on camera, but right when you walk out the door, you might shit talk me on Instagram saying this fucking Nachi, whatever, I don't know what. Okay, so that is the first time that you actually started fighting this, whatever you call it?
The Flatbush
Okay.
Jewish Journal, which I would say is really the most hypocritical of all of them, because
That was the first one you fight it.
Yeah, that was the first. Yeah.
What are you doing? How's your fight starting?
I developed a hashtag called From Women Have Faces. I asked every single woman who was reading the post and the hashtag to post a photo of themselves with the hashtag From Women Have Faces, and they should write in the caption what they feel about the erasure of Nashim Tzidkanios from our local circulars, from our Jewish magazines, from our Orthodox publications, and hundreds and hundreds of women posted that they are very frustrated with this policy. They think it's a big stira to what is true Yiddishkeit. We have avos, we have imahos. We are not Islam.
You're not supposed
We
to
don't
cover
wear
my face.
burqas,
Right.
and we don't invent, we don't add to, it's just as bad to add as it is to subtract. What are you doing? It's a contagiousness. It's a virus that was caught from the Umos HaOlam, because that extremism is not Yiddishkeit. It's not Torahic values.
This is the first time you got headlines all over the place.
Yes.
Daily news, everybody posted you.
basically.
Okay, now you have already a way that you're thinking, okay, this is my time, I guess. I'm
Yes.
shining now.
Yes.
So what are you doing next?
So then the next campaign I really thought of was, women in the space of medical care. What is going on with this boys club Hatala? Who do they think they are? They're
First of all, Hatala is an organization that nobody in front of me could shit talk.
Oh no, I'm not shit talking what the organization does. I'm
So you're
shit
saying the
talking
fact that it's only men?
yes, there's no inclusivity for women.
Okay.
Okay, so I want lights and sirens.
I can't. Hatala is so sensitive to me.
No, you don't.
So
you're not following.
I'm letting you talk
To be
whatever you want.
able the criticism is not. I'm not going to say what it's not. Hatzalah is an incredible organization. The fact that we're able to mobilize as a Jewish community, where all of our Jewish communities around the world have a hub and center for Hatzalah, and that we have our own community providing pre-hospital emergency care, is exactly what makes Bnei Yisrael so special. Like, this is exactly why we say Am Yisrael Chai, because we know how to take the reins on what we need, and we provide it for ourselves, and we don't just leave things up to chance or rely on external agencies. We rely on ourselves.
right. So at the same time that you respect and you appreciate what Hatzalah did, you're like,
Why can't I join it? I want to be an
Lights and
EMT.
sirens?
I want lights and sirens. I want to have a
Radio.
walkie-talkie radio. And I'm like, does it come in pink? Like, I want it. And then when I heard about the incredible work of Supreme Court Justice Ruchi Fryer, she's a bub of a girl. Like, she's a bub of a girl.
She opened the first solo girls.
So she approached Hatala, the headquarters in Borough Park, and she said, you know, we have a lot of women in the community who are looking for other women to service them in the event of a very vulnerable emergency. They're raised in a way where they're so tznius and they're so, you know, separated from men. They don't even pass things from men to women. And when it comes time to an emergency, they think tznius before they think safety. Because that's how they're programmed.
And you think it's true?
It doesn't have to be the rove of Jewish women. It could even be for a few. And that's something that as Yidden we should be sensitive to.
That's enough to open at least, right?
A small branch.
Right.
So she approached Hatzalah and she said, I'll help that department. I'll help you develop it. I'll help fundraise for it. I'll help you come up with the protocols and the policies so that we don't make things not sneeze between the men and women who are volunteering. And we have a way to dispatch Jewish women in the event of emergency births, burns in sensitive private areas, and we don't want Benos Yisrael to delay calling Hatzalah. Do you know there are women who start to have miscarriages in their bathtub, and they're so embarrassed that to call Hatzalah? Some women, it's not all women, but think about 1 in 10 women. That's not enough. And they're afraid. And instead of them calling for help right away, they're busy thinking, should I go out of the bath first? Should I put on a robe? Should I put on a tichel? They are eating into critical minutes that are necessary for a successful transport to an emergency room that is competent to take over the emergency.
So you joined Ruchi Fryer on this one?
So I became an EMT, and I'm a proud, and everyone called Ruchi Fryer and her amazing CEO, her daughter Leah Fryer, and the phone was ringing off the hook. Don't let Flatbush Girl join. She's just there to make a scandal.
Were you there to make the scandal, or were you there to really help?
Both. I was really there for both.
So, wow.
I was there.
So you like the scandal situation?
Yeah, of course. I'm trying to get visibility on the things I care about.
No, but I'm saying not. That's why I asked you, not things you care. You like scandals in general.
No, I care. I like scandals around things that I care about. Because
Okay.
I believe in working smart. And if you care about change in a certain area, why would you work linearly and all calculated when you can just make noise, throw things at the wall, see what sticks, and have fun with it? I don't want to burn out, so I have to have fun with what I'm doing.
Right. So she got heat not to accept Flatbush Girl.
Because
and what did she
was
do?
just because the theory was that Flatbush Girl was just going to come and leave. And I've been with this organization for almost 4 years. I am an active member in good standing. I am at the top of my game, and I have purple lights and sirens on my car.
Purple?
Purple lights
Okay.
and sirens. And
Why is the color purple?
because Ezra Sneshem's color is purple.
Okay.
Yeah. I did find out later, though, that purple lights is sort of the color that funeral directors
Yes,
use.
I wanted to tell you that. It's funeral. It's pretty scary to get transported with actually not transporting with your private car, but
Right,
whatever.
that's the thing, right?
Right.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and actually, you should just know that Hatzalah member who installed my lights and sirens, they actually threw him off of Hatzalah after they found out.
What?
Yeah.
A guy has a business. Why would they throw him out?
Because I made a whole matzav of it on Instagram. Like, look
Kill
at my
this
purple
guy.
lights.
This innocent guy tried doing you a favor. I feel bad for him,
I
though.
think he was in bad standing to be doing. I think it was just like a good excuse for them to just.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So this is already where you're starting to get your Flatbush Girl name out there. People are just Flatbush Girl. This scandal, that scandal. When is this Gett
Oh my god.
fight starting at the first time? What happened? Talk to me about the Gett. How did it start?
I started getting phone calls from like Dayanim and Av Bezdins and Rabbanim who were in the Gittin belt. And they were like, we're dealing with a severe ma'agan, a severe Gett refuser. And we need to expose him in order to bring a Gett for this agana.
Perfect
But we-
address, Flatbush Girl.
Perfect address. I was
Wow.
like, oh, this sounds good. This is right up my alley. This
Right.
is women's rights. This is women's equality.
So you weren't involved in any Gett refusing situation. The UNIM got you involved.
Yeah, they recruited me. So
Okay.
they started working with me. I started giving them like as much confidence as possible. Meaning, first of all, when I spoke to them, I was like always talking in third person. What does the Rav think? What do the Dayanim think? All the respect, Adel Madel. And I developed relationships with Dayanim and Batei Dinim across the tri-state area, where in circumstances where they needed a little pressure, they needed to like just have, we would play good cop, bad cop. I'm the bad cop. And they play dumb. We don't know how she found out that information. We don't know why she's posting that. Oh, she's crazy. And then they get to cut the deal because they become the place of refuge from the pain of being exposed for being an abuser.
I guess the first one worked out, I guess.
Yeah.
How do you get really involved with it on a daily basis that it became your life, mainly?
It's the only thing I think about.
At this point?
At this point, I am thinking about Gittin 24/7.
1 second. Are you doing it for money?
Of course I'm doing it for money, but I'm also doing it for Lishma. I do it Lishma and Latoelas and for my Parnasa. I've merged my whole life with it.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's not sustainable. It can't be a hobby. This is something you need to be focused on,
right?
Laser focused.
And is there sponsors for who's paying for this?
Every case is different. It depends on what the means are for the case, but there's always someone willing to pay. Sometimes it's an Askin, sometimes it's an Ashir, sometimes it's the uncle of the Agina, sometimes it's the Agina herself. It depends. I never say to someone, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Can't afford the fee." I say, "Okay, we need to identify where our fuel is coming from, because if we don't have fuel, we don't have a battle." Think about every war effort that ever existed. Who do you think fronted all the wars for Napoleon? Like, you can't have a war effort without fuel.
But why the violence?
So first of all, just like you have different specialists in different areas, there is only one sector of Gittin that I'm interested in. I don't take cases where things are very early. I don't take cases where they're in middle of negotiations. I take cases where everything is at a stalemate and every single effort has already been tried.
Basically, you get involved when everything is already yeesh, nobody's is...
Correct, but then I do my own version of doing my own investigations.
Okay.
Because I don't trust that the people who've done it until I got involved did it the right way. Because I'm more creative and more determined, and I'll try anything to get a get. So I'll redo the whole...
Even the good work, the quiet work before you're going to this house, right?
I will do everything, coloring within the lines, to be able to see if there's any stone that's been left unturned, to try and get this get in a menschlich way, in a direct way, in a way that gives respect and dignity for all sides, especially the children. In these situations, you are not dealing with anything rational. You are dealing with psychosis, personality disorders. You're dealing with severe corruption. You're dealing with financial abuse, sex abuse. You are not dealing with traditional divorce. You're dealing with the most extreme cases. And not only that, from a halachic perspective, the shaila you're even asking me is a form of kfira. It really is. Because you have to understand that there are phases in a get that halacha prescribes. It actually narrates what the phases of a get are. And it is either mitzvah lagaresh, chayav lagaresh, or kaifin lagaresh. That means you are in one of those three spaces from the moment that you are physically separate and you're no longer physically intimate. You cannot make up your own rules about the order in which this goes.
Right, but do you think a guy should give a get before he gets any custody?
I don't make the rules. It goes based on what the three dayanim decide when both parties sign a shtar brurin. Every single case is so unique that to even ask a general question shows your lack of understanding of the industry. You need to have both parties agree to submit to Beis Din. They sign an arbitration agreement. They agree to who the three dayanim are, and the dayanim will do an assessment of the Heskem Gerushin, which is the final divorce division of custody, alimony, assets, in a halachic way, which also takes into account what is local law. Ultimately, they will decide at what phase are we in on this get. Is it mitzvah lagaresh, chayav lagaresh, or kaifin lagaresh? And when you get to kaifin lagaresh, you don't get to say, "Oh wait, we're negotiating now. Oh, you didn't understand." No, that is when you have to go all the way, escalate, pressure. And my mentors within the Gittin space are some of the most notorious godfathers in the industry, and they have all trained me. I did not invent this methodology. This is a methodology I was trained in, and my mentors have all told me when it's kaifin lagarish, it's pressure, 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 pressure until it's done.
When comes in the legality to the religious divorce? How does it work?
The only way you can really force someone to give a get is, first of all, if you have a psak kfiyah from a competent beis din. You can't just decide on your own, I'm going to go force the get. You need to have the guidance of our chachamim and our das Torah.
So why this whole fight? If you can get a legal way, a normal get.
First of all, you need a psak kfiyah, you need and then you need a heter harakah.
So maybe if the Rabbanim doesn't want to give this thing that you can force in the legal part, maybe it's still not ready. Maybe the fight should hold on.
100%. Then I don't do it. Then I don't do my work. I mean, in the cases that I take on, they've already hit the threshold of being kaifin lagarish. I'm not making this executive decision on my own. This is
so
something
that means the law, if you're getting involved, you need to scream outside the house. That means the law cannot enforce it.
The law cannot enforce anything. The only thing the law can do is you can find pieces of leverage. If you know that the guy is, stole something and you want to help, bring leverage in court. So you start to, get witness testimony and then you're pressing charges and then you're using that to try to dangle and extract.
No, but it's not a direct way of...
There's no direct way to get a get anymore because we don't have physical kfiyah anymore. If you remember what Mendel Epstein did with all the cattle prods, his mafia... No, you didn't know who Mendel Epstein is?
I know the name, but I'm not...
Mendel Epstein was a kfiyah master who in the late 90s would take a group of IDF members and some gang members and also a cipher and Adim and a portable beis din, and they would find guys who were refusing to give gets, who were kaifin lagarish. And they would take them, they would throw them in the back of a van, they would threaten to physically harm them until the man would say, write the get. All he has to do is say, give her a get. And it's done. 30 minutes later, it's written, Cypher writes it very fast, and the woman is free. And he was put in jail.
Is there such a group today?
No, there is no such group. The only group that exists are those who are willing to use social media exposure.
Like you.
Yeah, like me. It's an amazing thing that we have our freedom of speech because I spent 27 days in Antwerp trying to get a get for a woman named Sivi Freilich. It was really difficult because there's not really this concept of freedom of speech over there. I was protesting in front of the get refuser's apartment and the police actually came and they were like, we have to arrest you now. And
you got arrested?
I talked my way out of it. I'm constantly dealing with NYPD and police officers. And
how's your relationship with them? They like you?
Yeah, because I'm always so grateful for their professionalism and their protection and they don't take sides. They can't take sides. And it's always very interesting for me when I'm at a protest and I arrive at the protest and there's tons of police cars and they're all there awaiting the arrival of the Flatbush girl, mini protest. And it's just amazing because in an attempt from the abusers to suppress, the message, they're ultimately just giving it more fuel because they make it look that much cooler with all the cars that come.
Can you sometimes look in a case that a woman is not right and say, okay, no, I'm not going to help her out?
So I have actually done kfiyah on women as well. There are women who can be, you can't really be kaifin lagarish on a woman, but there were situations where it practically met the qualifications. Do you know Yaeli Leichter?
I know. I don't know if it's him.
The musician.
Yes.
Yeah, I helped him get a get. His wife
wouldn't give him a get.
She wouldn't take her get.
Really?
She would not take her get, and I had to do public humiliation. And a lot of pressure in order.
He was ready for it?
What do you mean?
He called you up, I guess.
His advocates called me up. I have a relationship with a lot of his advocates.
Okay.
He actually was very protective of her. He was like, I don't want my daughter to witness anything that could be traumatic or that could put our divorce in the spotlight. This is painful enough. And his advocates and I sort of overrode his decision because we knew that his only way out was through public pressure. Otherwise, he would still be chained today.
And he was ready for everything should be in public?
It doesn't go based on if he's ready or
No,
not.
meaning to say he wanted you to
I don't
pose.
care what he wanted. I'm helping someone. I'm a lifeguard.
Right, but if the guy...
If someone's drowning, you don't have to ask for shush to
No,
jump
but
in
if I'm
and
asking
save them.
you, if I'm calling you up, Flatbush girl, I want you to help me with something, but
Put it
don't
this
post
way.
it. Can you help me quiet?
Can I help
Can
you
you help me
quiet?
quiet without
Of
making
course.
noise?
I never go to do noise right away. I always try to go behind the scenes first, but it's not practical with many types of criminal profiles. There's a reason why certain people are avoided. Why they're dodgy, why you can't find where they live, why they're always jumping from job to job. It's a certain profile that gets away with abuse because they're always hiding in the shadows. You go try to broker a get from a guy like that in a very fair and,
Right.
logical manner.
By the way, how do you handle the hate?
I really love the hate.
What do you
I'm
mean?
so grateful for the hate. Honestly, the hate is exactly what has gotten me to the point of realizing that it's never going to be good enough. It's never going to be good. You can try your best to make Klal Yisrael be more open-minded to important changes that are needed for the Heilige development of the community, right? To maintain our Yiddishkeit, to maintain our the way that we're Shomer Shabbos, Shomer Kashrus. Like, we don't want to be a dwindling tribe that dies out. We want to stay alive and well. And when you're talking about change in communities that are so tight-knit and insular, like the Frum community, you cannot make change without being showered in hate from morning till night. And
did it bother you for business?
I've lost so many clients and so much money from the controversy that I tend to be around. I was actually in a store on 13th Avenue in Borough Park last night, and I was talking to the owner. Saw me in the store, and he was like, "Oh, long time no see. Remember you did that reel for me? It got like 15,000 views. We got so many sales that the next few weeks. Like, you really put us on the map." And I was like, "Yeah, do you want to maybe do another one? Like, Pesach's coming up. Like, you're this is a great time for like shopping, customers, foot traffic." And he was like, "To be honest, like, I'm too scared to work with you now because now you're so controversial in the Gittin space." And you know what I say when that happens? I'm like, "Thank you, Hashem. Thank you so much." Because like,
but generally, I feel that, if a guy doesn't want to give a get, we need somebody, a strong person, to just make it happen. Why is so much hate coming of this subject? Why do you think so much people hate on it?
there's a few answers. One of the reasons is that a lot of what fuels Yiddishkeit are families that are intact, the nuclear family, the mother, the father, the kids. When you start to have divorces, it starts to challenge what our typical understanding is of like a Shabbos home or a Shabbos table.
Zusammen.
Yeah, and it creates the discomfort in the classroom, and the Rabbanim don't like it. They don't want this. They want it to be the way it was in the Altaheim.
What was it?
The same couple married until they die, just the regular stability of family life. They don't want people who are not happy in their marriages or having identity crisis.
But it's facts. You know what's going on. 50% people are not happy.
I personally feel that many of the women who come to me at a point where
they did Shalom Bayis for years.
Well, no, there's two. There's women who really tried for Shalom Bayis, and then there are women who maybe didn't try for Shalom Bayis enough. But at the end of the day, it's a woman's executive decision to decide who she wants to be married to and who she wants to be physically intimate with. And people don't understand that when a woman wants a get, it is not something that is over here. A woman who wants a get doesn't want a get for any logistical or practical reason. She wants it because that's how she's programmed as an Eishes Chayil, that she doesn't want to violate anything in her ksuba. And we're weaponizing women's Yiddishkeit against them. We're taking their tamimisticness and we're taking their erlichkeit, and we're basically saying, we're going to punish you and keep you locked in a jail cell, even though you could really just take the key and open it yourself, technically.
Right.
You're not actually physically chained, right. But because of their belief in Hashem,
married woman,
and in halacha,
until you don't have a get, you're married, right?
Exactly, and then it's like lifnei iver lo sitei mechshel, like they're having a WhatsApp chat with someone who's giving them emotional support and attention during this time, and then they're feeling like, I need my get. They
feel they're doing something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And the Batei Dinim are not sophisticated enough to expedite the get process. And in many ways, yes, they're trying their best to help, but in many ways, they're fueling the problem as well because they are not trained well enough in end of marriage affairs, psychologically, emotionally, and they're not even trained well in halacha. They don't even know the halacha. Do you know how many, I literally have to debate with Dayanim and remind them that they don't know, that they're not citing the Makar and the Marmer Makomis correctly.
How does your husband, your kids, your family handling this Flatbush girl, this noise, this...
I know my husband from when I'm 7 years old. my mother's sister is married to his brother. So my aunt and I married brothers.
Okay.
So it's like a typical shidduch in the from world, you
Right.
know, like you have sisters marrying brothers or whatever, you know, two brothers.
Right.
I mean, we're not related by blood, but we're related through machatanim. And I got engaged when I was 17.
Wow, that's young.
Yeah, I didn't even go
I
to
did too.
seminary. Oh, you did too?
16.
No way.
Yeah,
You were engaged at 16.
very young.
That's crazy.
I was married already 17.
Wow.
17 in a week, I was under the chuppah. And it didn't work by the end, but whatever. I gave her a get fast, so
Amazing. So you know what it's like.
No, I know
Like,
what it means to
literally-
get married
it's
young.
practically child marriage.
it doesn't work normally, I think.
It
Getting
doesn't
married so
usually-
young, it's not working out.
And my husband was a year older than me. So we were like 17, 18 when we got engaged. You know, 18, 19. Like we got married a few months later.
It was like a regular shidduch?
No, it was more like I was in 12th grade. He was in first year base medrash in Waterbury. We met at like a Hanukkah party, and I was like, oh my gosh. He
You had
like,
a crush on him?
yeah, I was like, oh my God, I have a huge crush on him. He's like, you know, and I couldn't wait because I was so phobic around Shomer Negia. I really thought Shomer Negia was like I was going to get struck by lightning.
And what do you think today about Shomer Negia?
I don't think one will get struck by lightning.
No, but you Shomer Negia?
Whatever, like I'll pass things. I don't care like that.
No,
but
I don't mean to pass me a bottle of water. I don't mean this. I'm asking a hug when you meet somebody.
nah, usually not.
So you're still Shomer Negia, but you don't think you're going to get killed.
But
That's
the
what
point
happens.
is
Right.
that I thought I had to rush to get to the chuppah because I thought it would be like a huge avera. And I rushed there because I thought that was the only choice.
But Avera for what? If you did Shomer Negia, even if you're engaged for a longer time, what's the problem?
That's just not how I was trained in like Beis Yaakov. That's not how I was trained. I was
Engaged, get married.
engaged, you date for
Fast.
a short time, you get engaged, you get married, you know, Taras HaMishpacha, be all end all of everything. And I
So how many shows you had?
I literally also like we never even went on dates. We were like only allowed to meet up in like the living room because my parents
No,
were
before
watching.
you got engaged.
Yeah, my
Okay.
parents were like babysitting us every time we had like a date.
Okay.
I'm saying I'm married almost 20 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 37.
37, 20 years. Wow, yeah, 17. How many kids?
I have two boys,
Okay. What's their age?
16
Just, so they see everything, huh?
and 9.
Oh my God, a 16-year-old boy, that means he lives this life. He knows exactly what's going on.
He knows everything.
And how does he feel about it? How's he handling it?
Listen, I don't really mush in to my daily conversations with my family what it is I'm doing. They see it because I'm like a hurricane running through the house and jumping in my car and going on an Ezra Nashim call, my lights and sirens, and my radio's always going off, and like I'm screaming on the phone with the Gett refuser or at a die-in, and like they're like,
By the way, you got some extra dildos because I know women that can use it.
it's vibrators, not dildos.
Vibrators. What's the deal over there?
Okay, so I did a campaign on Hanukkah time called Free the Vibes, and it was all about a vibrator campaign to sponsor and support the conjugal rights that are being denied to agunot. And this created so much buzz and attention. I have to say, we raised like a crazy amount. We raised like $22,000 in like 8 days. And we were able to purchase 368 vibrator gift boxes that have like massage oil and candles. And they also have these little like gummies with like THC in them for like mikvah night to get you like warmed up, like to help
Okay.
with shalom bayis. Listen,
So this whole thing about this dildos was for married, like for
no,
good,
it was
good
been
relationships too?
No, it's been no. You can sponsor a box for yourself or for an aguna, but the main point was that proceeds were to raise awareness about the fact that agunas are not just being denied human rights about their autonomy and their freedom of movement, and they're being abused financially and they're being abused emotionally and religiously. It's not just that. It's the fact that they are being denied physical intimacy, and the fact that their commitment to their husband, to their Baal, is being used to keep them trapped. You're talking about agunas who are agunas for 7 years. Can you explain? I have a question. When you have a bacher, right? When you have a bacher who's single for a while, all the rabbanim are like, okay, we have to get him married. Hello, we have to get him married. He has needs. But then when we talk about women who are in dead marriages, held hostage for 7 years, where is the battle cry about her onah that's being denied to her? The ksuba talks about onah as a human right for women. Women are allowed to initiate divorce without having to explain themselves whatsoever. According to the ksuba, if they state in Beis Din that they are being denied onah, the ksuba is a blueprint for women's bodily rights and autonomy. I didn't write this. The ksuba in and of itself is a halachic prenup. Why do you think some people don't hang it up in their dining rooms? Because it essentially says what he's going to have to give her if he initiates divorce. And it says exactly what she's allowed to initiate divorce for, with hitting the kill switch without being liable for giving him any money for any nezek or damages. People don't even know what the ksuba says. It's embarrassing. It's mamish embarrassing.
What's up with gay couples, lesbian couples? You deal with them ever?
I'm
wondering if people are reaching out to you about this subject. Like,
no, I haven't had any gittin in any homosexual relationships yet. But that would be a very interesting assignment. I wonder how that
you like
would
it,
work.
huh?
I'm interested to hear it. I feel like it's like, like if I make a movie, it'll.
I want to
like
see
the
two
third
guys are coming over to you and tell, listen, I need help. My husband, whatever. It should be an interesting.
that would be interesting.
Is there any other topic that you are now like protesting or accept Gittin, or Gittin is your entire life now?
Gittin is really just everything I think and do. I think it's, as someone who works in the space of pre-hospital medical care, and I do Hatzalas Nefashos, so sometimes on the back of an ambulance at 2 a.m. on a Friday night, leaving my family.
How do you have time to do all this? Fight Gittin, be an ambulance, do ads, come on podcasts. How do you deal with that? You have a lot of things going on in your life. Yeah. And you have kids and a husband.
Yeah.
How do you do that? It's a lot.
It feels so effortless for me. I don't feel like I'm working.
You sleep a lot, or you sleep 2 hours a night?
I wake up late every morning.
So you're going to sleep late and you wake up late?
Yeah.
I was thinking the Israel-Palestine fight, you should be a perfect candidate a little bit, make some awareness what you think. You have something, opinions or stuff.
Yeah, I have major opinions. I 100% think that the whole war is a reflection of the state of Gittin. That's how my brain processes it.
Whoa. How do you get from Israel to Palestine to Gittin?
I'll explain to you.
That's a little, okay.
Because B'nai Yisrael wants a Gett from Palestine, from this terrible marriage where no matter what we give in the divorce settlement, we're always the bad ones. No matter what we give, they want more. They're terrorists. This is exactly what every Aguna goes through. Is an exact.
You're saying that Palestinians, all of them are terrorists?
No, I'm saying that the fight about land, the fight about identity and about historical narrative and historical rights.
But I never saw you talking about it on social media.
Sometimes I do, but for me, really, it's important to just keep things framed through the lens of Gittin. And I think also the hostages are an exact mirror in many ways. Lahavdil, on the battle that Agunas feel as hostages, where they are waiting for people to get their shit together, where they're waiting for things that they're not under control of, where they
That's why you compared it. Now I get it. Okay.
The hostages and also the inability to create a agreement, the ability to integrate, where we're blamed that we're not the ones making the agreement, right? We're blamed for all the problems with the stalemates and the escalations. It's our fault, right? No, it's a dissolution and a blurring between who is perpetrator and who is victim. We are not the perpetrators, and we get spewed as the perpetrators, and that's exactly what happens in the fight of Gittin, where women are demonized as perpetrators who are trying to put the men in jail and trying to isolate the children and alienate the children, and they're just money hungry and they're cheating, and it's all lies to mess with people's perceptions on who is the real victim and who is the perpetrator. And then I think the hostages just really shows it even more, just that the deterioration of the human spirit and the human body when it's under captivity. And that's exactly how these agunas feel. They are hostages.
Flatbush girl, are you an activist, an influencer, or an actor?
That's a great one. I think I'm a little bit of all of them and many other things. I think I'm also...
You're an actor?
I think that there's a need for being somewhat performative and theatrical in the way that you present information that's important for people to hear. If I were to present it in a very pariv, nonchalant way, it just wouldn't get the message to resonate. And I really want people to really hear how important it is that we really call out Gett abuse when we see it, and that we stand with agunas, and that there's no such thing as two sides to the story. When people say there's two sides to the story, no. Once there's a psak from Bezdin, the two sides to the story were heard already by Dayanim. When you challenge a final psak, you're essentially displaying that you're not mekabel the all of Bezdin.
What's the success rate in your work that you do?
100%. 100% success rate. Every single case I work on gets a Gett. You want to know why?
Okay.
Because I never quit. Any case that is still ongoing, it is still an active case that I'm constantly on top of. So it has to be 100%. And if you want to know, you should ask me how many Gittin I've done.
Yeah, how many Gittin you did?
I have done over 56 Gittin in the last 3 years.
Wow.
And I've done over 11 since my birthday on August 22nd. I've
Wow,
done 11 since August.
How many cases you work now?
Oh my God. Like 4 active cases and like 6 residual.
Do you have a team?
Sure. Every single case, I identify different key members who are going to be my round table of knights who are going to help get the hostage out of captivity. And it requires such skilled troubleshooting and strategy that I also, like people say to me, oh, do you charge? I'm like, you think I can get talented troubleshooters and troublemakers around a round table just because they have to just do it lishma or because it's chesed? No, people who know the value of their skill and their talent, they deserve compensation. You would be amazing on a Gett case. I would love to make you my captain on a Gett case.
I don't have time. My life is too
Yeah,
busy.
but
I
the pay
wish.
is amazing.
But no, honestly, like I can help for free anytime, anything. I'm a person who loves to help others, regardless if it's a Gett or to get you a girl, whatever it is. I love to help. But I think
Just do a 10-hour retainer. We'll pay you up front. I just need you in on certain Zoom sessions, and I need you to help scare some people. Just be a little intimidating, and then you can help us get a Gett. It's a huge mitzvah.
I know it's a good.
It's also a huge schus for Parnassa.
Okay, listen, we'll think about it, and we'll let you know.
You'll take it under consideration.
We'll try. What do you think about Trump? You like Trump generally? Are you a Trump fan?
Am I a Trump fan? I mean, did you know that my video with Tish James went like on every single TV station like dozens of times and was tweeted by Trump himself?
Really?
And by his children numerous times, where they were using me as the face of the witch hunt against.
Really?
Yeah, I was the face of the witch hunt.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a very interesting experience. I wish they would have tagged me. Like
These followers get me out of this. I deserve it. Flatbush Girl, any other thing that people don't know about Flatbush Girl? Now's your time. Look at the camera and tell them exactly. Tell me some, like 2 secrets of Flatbush Girl people don't know.
Need to move something anywhere? That is Shimon's Express. We're your global logistics partner, specializing in seamless shipments from Israel to New York. And from there, we connect you to the UK, Mexico, and beyond. Plus, if you're in the tri-state area, rely on us for fast, reliable local deliveries. Need secure private warehousing? We've got you covered.
Shimon's Express, connecting you globally, delivering locally.
Contact us today at 718-221-2121.
I think that people see a very angry side of me when I'm in my confrontational, controversial mode. But what they don't see is that really, like, the way I am at my baseline, the way I am at my core, is I'm ridiculously, very radically positive, and I wear like rose-tinted glasses wherever I go. I always see the glass half full. I always see like the positive in everything. And I think that, in order to do confrontational work, if you're a kind of person who's consumed by the negativity around you, because Gittin is a very negative space, you can't last in that industry. And to be successful in the field of Gittin, you really need to be an optimist and a very positive person. And I feel like I have that aspect that keeps me going.
You regret hurting somebody on social media that didn't deserve it?
Sure. Well, there's an individual that I actually came up with a really, really devious plan to extract a Gett from him. He was a 6-year Gett refuser. Very, very severe case. Definitely needed to give a Gett. The Dayanim in Borough Park agreed he had to. There was no wiggle room, no more time for negotiations. He was trying to extort her for millions of dollars. And I came up with a plan that really, he didn't really even realize kind of what was happening, but he ultimately gave Rishus to free his wife and give a Gett. He ended up walking away with nothing. He ended up walking away with 0. And at the time, I really felt that was the only way, and I also felt that this is what he deserved. But since then, I've had so many negative interactions with the Aguna and her family in the fallout of having gotten her Gett, where they are trying to sue me in court, and they want to try to, retroactively invalidate their get, just some very bizarre behavior. And now I have a lot of empathy for what that husband went through in trying to divorce his wife. I think that, I was a little hard on him, but I didn't have a choice. But I feel bad. Like, I do feel bad that I sort of took away from him his one last card that he had active.
Out of these 56 gets, is there any way that a person that you fighted became your friend after?
So I try to maintain a very professional relationship with the people that I'm involved with after a get. I really kind of go no contact. So there's no more like, oh, we're friends now, we know each other, I'm coming to their simchas. No, it's like going to a doctor's office. Once you're out of my office, you're gone. I need all my mental runway allocated, not for just maintaining relationships and being friends with people. It's to give all my kayach to having the stamina that's needed to get a get.
Did it ever hurt your kids going to certain schools because of your activism?
Baruch Hashem, not. Baruch Hashem, not. There's been a lot of assumptions from people. Like, a lot of people say my kids are enrolled in public school. That is not true. And even if it was, I mean, what does that commentary even mean? Like, we should be so lucky that, our tuition crisis in the yeshiva system could be somewhat, eased by having some sort of synergy with the public school system in some way. But, I just feel like, no, people misunderstand a lot of the ways I raise my children. And no, Baruch Hashem, they're in very good yeshivas.
You forgot the second thing that people don't know about you.
That's true. I thought I got out of it.
No.
Give me an example of something about you that I might not know. Maybe that'll give me a little inspiration.
That I'm a very, very warm, sensitive human. People think I'm an aggressive fuck, straight up. And I could be aggressive, but I'm super sensitive and light and easy, and I'm opening my heart for anybody that speaks out to me, or anytime. I get so many people reach out to me and ask me this, they need help with this, they need help with this, and I'm always here. I love helping people. People think I'm always the repossession guy that people used to talk about when I had the leasing company. So I'm a sensitive person, and I love to help. That's, I think, a thing that not everybody knows, but whatever. Whoever knows me close knows I'm like that. But yeah.
Right.
What is your thing? Give me a sensitive part about Flatbush Girl is always screaming.
Right.
Give me a sensitive thing about Flatbush Girl.
Right. Well, I had said that, one of the contrasts about the screaming is that I'm very radically positive. I could look like I'm very angry and very, very negative about things, but really at my core, I'm a radical optimist. I think really I just feel compelled to say that as so much of what I do brings a negative light onto the Jewish people, but it really ultimately comes from my desire to really want to repair and do what's best for the klal. Like, I genuinely really wake up with like so much avas Yisrael, and I'm so grateful for being part of this amazing nation. I really am. And for me, this is my duty and what I give back to the klal. When I do things and people process it as like self-hating or wanting to take down the maistis or wanting to take down the yeshiva world, it's really such a misrepresentation of how I feel, because I really just feel like I want to be a warrior to help protect us on the battlefield. And if we don't protect Jewish marriage and the sanctity of how Jewish women feel about exiting abusive marriages, then we are really going to self-detonate, and it comes from a place of love.
Thank you very much, Flatbush Girl, for coming down. I had a good time, and I'm happy you came, and I guess we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.